Alright, so I've just unpacked the first box. We upped the number of the first print run this time, so we'll see how that goes for us. A lovely color illustration for the cover by Carborough's Jason Strutz, strutzillustration.com. The illustration goes along with Lavie Tidar's story, the story of Listener and UN. I got my nitpick on the cover. I left an errant ampersand up there, which I didn't put down there, so I'll live with that for a while, but I'll get over it. I just love the color. I think it's a really cool illustration for this story. And there's a whole bunch of interviews in here. It's not really all interviews. Some of these are articles built around discussions rather than a point, counterpoint, point, counterpoint, question, answer interview. So here's the inside cover and the contents page. Buyer again supporting us with a great full color ad. This time for Pierre Pavel's The Cardinal's Blades, James Enge's The Wolf Age, and Joel Shepard's Tricato. It's always cool to have a nice big full color image like that put together by real pros. When we get to ads I put together, there's no comparison. Anyway, contents. Not much to see there. One thing that made it into the print this time was my CC by NC and D. Basically, that means copy it, share it, but don't try to make money off of it. So here's the story of Listener and UN. It was very cool when Lavie sent me this story. I don't want to give too much away, but this is a story about a cat and a dog. This is a love story. This is an adventure story. This is a sad story. Watch. So, just beautiful storytelling, and I hope you guys enjoy that one. Now here's Turning Back the Clock by David Steffen. David's been really supportive of Bull Spec from the beginning, and I'm happy to have a story of his here. It's a short kind of I don't want to give any of this away. So we got an illustration here by Joey Jordan. And this is again, I don't want to give this away. This was just I love the conceit of this story. So Cityscape by Denali Hyatt. Denali was recently a Cary High School student. Now she's going to college in New York, but we're really happy to publish her first story here. One of the things I love doing with Bull Spec is publishing first stories, and this was a good one. And here's kind of the feature-length story for the issue. This is Like Parchment in the Fire by Catherine Sparrow. When I opened Bull Spec last November, so almost a year ago now, I put out a call for submissions of kind of a mid-length 4,000 to 5,000 words, and around those kind of thing, thinking I was going to do the one story per quarter electronic thing. Illustration by Mike Gallagher. What we have is kind of a line here, and the two timelines of the story appear in the picture. And anyway, so back to what I was saying. Catherine sent me this story. It's really cool. It's about the Diggers, which was an anarchist group in the 1640s and 50s in England, kind of alternating with a timeline from the 1960s in San Francisco, and kind of people who called themselves anarchists-ish in that time. So back and forth. It's a really cool story. I can give that away. Next story, another local author story. This is You're Almost Here by Melinda Thielbar. This is just, how did I describe it on the blog? I think I said a rip-roaring second-person tour of the future. So basically, things like second person don't generally work that well for me, but this one was awesome. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I did. And one of the cool things about Bull Spec is it's allowed me to really get to know the established authors in the local area, and there's so many, it's unbelievable. One of those is David Drake from Pittsburgh. So I got to meet him at a book signing in April or March or something like that. It must have been actually later than that because the book came out in May. Anyway, Legions of Fire, and the Legions of Fire is this fantasy epic novel set in what's kind of like the ancient Rome, but not quite ancient Rome. Obviously, with sphinxes that can come to life and magic. It's not quite ancient Rome, as far as we know. David is a student of Latin, among many other things. So we got to excerpt the novel, and got a review from Paul Kincaid. If you guys are familiar with Paul's name, he's, in my mind, one of the more preeminent literary reviewers of science fiction going on right now. He can be a bit critical at times, but you know what you're getting. You're getting his honest opinion. And then I got a chance to take up a lot of David's time with an at-length interview. We went all over, talked about all kinds of stuff, and that was great. And of course, no Bull Spec issue from 2010 will be complete without the next installment of Closed System by Mike Gallagher. If you're familiar with our motorcycle riding, well, the motorcycle is embedded in a giant ape head, time-traveling professor, historian from the future, then yeah, this is installment 3, so one more to go. Here's our happenings section. Happenings is another one of those sections I've really liked figuring out how to put together. Tries to keep track of all the publications and events that are happening locally. I can't fit everything in. There's too many writers getting short stories in good places and good anthologies, and too many events coming from out of town from authors and our great local bookstores, and are just filling up the calendars. One thing not on our calendar is in November. There's a November 6th now. There's going to be a Bull Spec 3 launch. It's going to be Saturday, November 6th from 2 to 4 p.m. at Flyleaf Books. Come out, see us, say hi. Okay. So the next thing in the issue here, I got to have a couple conversations with Joe Haldeman, and that was really awesome. That was really all due to the people from NASFIC putting together a reconstruction, getting the convention to come here, it's happening to run into him once, and then he came by for a longer conversation the next day. So it was awesome. He was just an amazing guy to talk to. And this picture is something that I've had on my mind for a long time. I wanted to figure out a way to get this in the magazine. This is from the Where I Write project, which is at Kyle Cassidy project, kylecassidy.com. He went to a whole bunch of science fiction and fantasy authors' dens and took pictures of them, amazing pictures of them while they wrote. So we have Joe writing by, some calligraphic pen by lantern light. It's not really a calligraphic pen. I just like to exaggerate a little bit. Unfortunately, I can't afford to put everything in color, so this beautiful picture has some amazing color online, but in the print version it's black and white, but it's still a really cool black and white. So basically I got to write an article about getting to talk to Joe, and that was really cool. Kind of dusted off some really old, and perhaps should have stayed dusted, journalism things from my history. And did the same thing when William Gibson came to Duke in late September to support Zero History, his new book, which I finally finished. It was amazing. Anyway, he came. I wrote another article about his coming and the things he had to say in the Q&A, and it was great to write about him. He's been just an amazing writer for so many years. I just grew up with his stories, and it was really cool to get to see him speak and read, and anyway, it was great. Another great local event this time that made it into an article was Brandon Sanderson came by. I called it Brandon Sanderson Takes the Time because he really did. He was just a trooper. He sat through this amazingly long line that went through Quail Ridge Books. It had to break some fire codes, and there were people in there for that. With all the books and people, it was definitely a good thing the fire marshal didn't show up. But he had a time for a conversation with every single person who wanted to, and he was just great. Here's a little something fun. I need to provide this art a little better, but anyway, 15. This is Tachyon turns 15. Tachyon Publications. I heard that John Kessel was flying out there for it, and I thought, 15. That's a lot of years. That's pretty cool. I really liked some of the publications of theirs that I've had a chance to read and look through. So I wrote them and said, hey, what would you think about answering a couple questions, give me some information. And James Patrick Kelly and Jeff Vandermeer were both really kind to add some personal perspective of authors and anthologists who work with them about working with Tachyon over the years. And Jacob Wiseman answered a couple questions, and again, tried an article style thing. So hope you guys enjoyed that. You can't really see the detail on this, but it's 15 with a good number of book covers. So this is Greasing the Pan. This is Paul T. Riddell, or Riddle. I never did ask him for pronunciation, and being clueless, I don't know it. But when I first started Bull Spec, I got this, my first bit of official mail at my P.O. box was from Paul, from his Texas Triffid Ranch. I got a little pin, some postcards, some good luck kind of things, and that was great. And so a conversation started, and I found out about a couple of his books that had come out that year, and Jeff Vandermeer was kind enough to let me reprint his review of Greasing the Pan, and then we went to town with an interview. And I titled the interview "Why." I don't often title interviews. Are you down here? Why? If I can hold it still long enough. Why? So every question begins with why, ending with why in the world did I think I could interview you? And boy, we'll see how people take that. So the last interview, I think, in the issue is The Order of Dagonet. It's local comics. I've been just trying to figure out what's going on with the local comic writers and illustrators, and thanks to Alan Gill at Ultimate Comics, I got The Order of Dagonet issue 1. I walked into Ultimate Comics and said, who should I be reading locally? And he handed me issue 1 of The Order of Dagonet. And so got to talking to Jeremy Whitley and Jason Strutz, and had a nice little interview, and got a chance to put some of their art in here, and hope people check it out. Issue 3, I think, issue 3 or issue 4, just got the finishing touches put on, and it'll be out for NC Comic Con, which is the 13th and 14th of November. I'm running out of time. Oh! Blowing up. So, got some reviews. Shades of Milk and Honey by Mary Robinette Kowal, reviewed by Natanya Barron. The Dervish House by Ian MacDonald, reviewed by Richard Dansky. And Dansky reviewed another Pyre book for me, The Cardinal's Blades by Pierre Pavel. And lastly, Joe Giddings, you guys might remember from last issue, reviewed Bone Shaker. This issue, he reviewed The Bird of the River by K.H. Baker. We've got our poetry section. Thank you so much, Dan. Dan Campbell's the new poetry editor at Bull Spec, and he really knocked it out. Picked some really great poems. Hope you guys enjoy them. And here is trilingual flash fiction. If you guys remember issue number 1, I got a chance to have There Are No Orcs translated. So Josh Whitten, it's an essay from him, and I got it translated into Spanish and French, and really liked that. Wanted to do it again for issue 2. I didn't find any content that would work with, but luckily Natanya Barron and Paul Selmer, who were both previous Bull Spec contributors, wrote some flash fiction for a WUNC, the State of Things interview. And so I got Itzel Leaf to translate them into Spanish for me, and Gio Clairval, I got to translate them into French. So hope you guys enjoy that. I really enjoy this kind of thing in the issue, so I hope you guys do too. Last but not least, editorial page, Mind the Newsstand. Don't know what people think about that, but hey, got a place to sign all the issues there. And back cover. Thank you so much, Tor, for your support. It was really cool to have met Brandon Sanderson and talked to him about the book before seeing the cover, and there it is on the back of the magazine. So hope you guys enjoy Bull Spec number 3 in stores now.